In the new year, we're here. In the new year, we are here. January 9th, Friday. And we are continuing with the Financial Fitness Friday. Feels so good to be able to share this message. Feels so good to be able to speak positivity into the world. In a world where so much is going on, so much turmoil, so much calamity. We need to think, feel, and hold on to as much positivity as we can. And we must believe in our hearts, in our spirit, in our soul, as well as exercise our faith that there are better days ahead, that tomorrow brings a brighter future. Do not let current situations dim light on your outlook and your perspective and your hopes and your dreams and your goals and your plans. This is a snapshot in time. Better days are ahead. And so I'm going to give, as I always do, thought-provoking and powerful message that is going to lend to focusing on the future, your future, a brighter future. And I have some tools to share. As always, I go back to go forward. And I do a quick recap of my last session and show the nexus and how my messages often intertwine and connect to the next message. And today is no different. Our last message for the Financial Fitness Friday, Financial Fitness for Your Future. I was completing the second part of the first stage to investing. And that was a fantastic series there. And as I always say, you'll be able to see it in its entirety on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which is D.E. Wilder, D.E. Wilder 1. And it's a first stage to investing. And it has some powerful tools in it. So I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what that was about and why that was so powerful. And I'm hoping that you get a chance to see it in its entirety at some point on my YouTube channel. So I was talking about the very basis and fundamental elements of investing. We was not talking about sophisticated investing in tools and strategies and things of that nature. We was talking about expanding your financial fortitude and expanding the tools that you have in your portfolio. If you don't have a portfolio, developing a portfolio, having investment opportunities besides the savings and retirement planning. So I was given some very basic tools on how to first shift your mindset, because everything starts with mindset. Before you have an action, before you have a strategy and a plan that you're going to execute, you first have to get it clear in your mind. What I'm going to do, what I plan to do. This is how I'm going to do it, and then execute. So we were going to a mindset shift on approach to the first stage of investing. And so here it goes. What was the journey about as it relates to the first stage to investing? Investing does not begin with money. As I just mentioned, it begins with mindset. The first stage to investing is a grounded, soulful approach to future planning. designed for beginners, late starters, and purpose-driven individuals. Purpose-driven individuals who want clarity without intimidation. And the way I design my session is to make it very clear that we're not going to overcomplicate it like so many people do. They make it so complicated that people fear to even talk about money or investing or the future as it relates to their financial future, because it seems so daunting. You know, what is this about? What is this equity? What is this futures about? What is this Bitcoin about? What is these all these different type of hedge funds about? You know, what is this managed funds about? What is this mutual fund about? What is this investment fund about? 401k about? It's so much, but it does not have to be complicated. It starts with the very basic, because it really starts with you. It starts with, what is your goal? What do you want to do? And it goes from there. And it starts with baby steps, one step at a time, one brick at a time, $1 at a time. It doesn't have to start with $1 million. You know, that's far-fetched for so many people, but it can start with $1. The worst part is not to get started at all. You don't want to find yourself there. If you need to invest in your future, invest in yourself, and you need to have strategies that are very diversified in many different ways. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, so you don't put everything that you have, everything that you get, all your belongings in investing. You don't do that, but you diversify, and it's a great option. So again, this work reframes the excuse me, technical difficulties. This work reframes the investing as an act of self-respect and patience, and with long-term intentions rather than fear, urgencies, or pressures. Mindset, that you have to have that mindset shift and think it's a matter of mindset before money. Mindset before I even start investing. You acknowledge that your future deserves that. Your future deserves your preparation and being prepared. Investing begins with the moment you choose to think beyond today. From mindset to movement, and from movement to execution. You learn that small, consistent steps matter more than large ones. Large, perfect movement, which does not exist. But small steps, baby steps, and get yourself started. You want to start where you are enough. Your intentions, your goal are enough. The tools and the trust in oneself and your consistency is what's going to allow you to have a strong and a solid strategy. So you embrace the simple system of automation. You know, you may want to start with automatic investments and things like small ones. They have partial investments. You don't have to buy a whole stock. You can buy a fractional stock. Automation to remove emotion and build discipline in your practices. Consistency became the advantage that you have. And so now you start to mitigate the risk by having patience and a long view for the future. And you understand that now you reframe risk as something that you understand and not fear. Patience became an active financial strength. And you learn to review, rebalance, and stay the course with consistency. We also went over that wealth is built by those who stay aligned and adapt thoughtfully, resist quick shift and panic, and have strong stewardship over their finances. And that stewardship will replace the urgency to make quick money moves, which most of the time will not be the best or the wisest thing to do. So we had core principles that we went over. Investing is a long-term relationship, not a short-term reaction. Time and consistency matters more than timing itself. Peace in your financial strategy, simple systems that outperform complexities, and stay in the course that builds stability and freedom. Oh, it was a powerful session. And I just hope, again, that someone gets to see it in its entirety on my YouTube channel, D.E. Wilder, D.E. Wilder 1. It's called First Stage to Investing, because I cemented my message with powerful affirmation, letting people know that you do not need to rush. You do not need to compare. You do not need to be fearless, but you just need to be steady. Every intentional step that you take today is a message to your future self. And that message say, very simply, I didn't forget about you. You're speaking to yourself, your future self. I didn't forget about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking ahead for you. So that was a powerful message. I hope that someone get a chance to check it out. As I mentioned, you can see it is in its entirety. It's 2 parts. I've been told that it might be a lot. I don't think so, but it's thought provoking, and it gets you going, and it gets you thinking about, okay, what is my financial strategy, and where do I start, and how do I start? Some powerful tools. So it's a great session that you should get a chance to check out when you have the time. So that leads me to today's session and our Financial Fitness Friday, which is Financial Fitness for Your Future with D.E. Wilder. I am D.E. Wilder. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to share this moment with me. Thank you for sharing this moment on my journey while I'm sharing this moment with you on your journey. Today's session is something that is empowering at best. Empowering, because this is going to continue to require a mindset shift. It's going to continue to require you to go from thinking one way to another way as you elevate in life. Today's session is called From Employee to Employer. Let me say that again. From employed to employer, designing your future success. It's for the people who, regardless of who you are and regardless of what you do and how great you are, you have to know one thing and know one thing for sure. There's more. There's more to life, and there's more to you, and you can do more, and you can be more. And that is what the underpinning of today's message is about. There's more. Going from being employed to being an employer. This is going to be powerful. Stay with me, people. Let's get to work. So, welcome, family, friends, and fraternal soul. Welcome to this very moment that we share together. Welcome to the conversation that may very well shift how you see your future. Today's session is entitled, as I just mentioned, From Employee to Employer, Designing Your Future Success. This is going to be powerful. Stay with me. So, let me say this clearly from the start. This conversation is not about quitting your job tomorrow. Don't jump into the water. Don't jump into the deep end. It's not about a reckless leap or overnight success. This is about mindset before movement. This is about identity before income. This is about designing your future intentionally, strategically, and purposefully. Because before you can ever become an employer, you must first become the owner of your own vision. Some of us has mastered being dependable. We show up on time. We follow instructions. We meet expectations. But there comes a moment in life, a quiet, persistent moment, where your very soul whispers to you, there is more for you. And today, we're going to listen to that whisper. We're going to address that whisper. We might even have a conversation with that whisper. Let's go to work. You have to have a mindset shift that goes from where you're at to where you want to be. So, where are you? Like most people, you are now in the employee mindset. Let's start there with total honesty. Being employed is not a weakness. It's structure. It's stable. It's discipline. But the employee mindset, if left unchecked, can quietly limit your growth and your expansion. An employee mindset often say things like, tell me what to do. Tell me when it's enough. Tell me what I'm worth. And over time, you stop asking questions like, what do I want to create? What problem can I solve? What value lives inside of me? You begin trading time for money instead of value for impact. And here's the hard truth. You can be incredibly talented, incredibly skilled, and still be trapped in a system that never asks you to dream beyond those talents or those skills. Think about that. The employee mindset waits for permission. The employer mindset creates permission. Simple as that. Mindset shift, people. We're going to the next level. The shift from doer to designer. Here, we're at the turning point. We're going, baby. We're going for mindset shift. The shift from employed to employer begins internally, not externally. You stop asking questions like, what's my job? And you start asking questions like, what problem do I solve? You stop asking, how much do I get paid? And you start asking questions like, how much value do I deliver? This is where you become a designer, not a doer. We're beyond that. Designer thinking. Designers think in systems. Designers think in solution. Designers think long term. An employer mindset understands every skill is an asset. Every experience is leverage. Every setback is pure data. Pure data that can be used for future purposes. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to start thinking ownership with that mindset. Why? Because ownership and having that mindset is ownership of ideas, ownership of growth, ownership of your future. That's the benefit of that ownership mindset. Once you get that, now you can start designing your future success. Let's talk about design. Success doesn't happen accidentally. It's built brick by brick, step by step, moment by moment. Baby steps matter. So stop and ask yourself, what do I do naturally well? What do people consistently ask me for help with? What do my skills meet as it relates to solving a problem or something in real time in the real world? Those are thought-provoking questions that you can ask yourself when we start in a shift in that ownership mindset. Your future success lives in that intersection and the answer to those questions. So let's get real practical. What does designing your future mean? What does it really mean? It means learning how money moves, understanding how value is exchanged, building something that can exist, something that can exist without your constant presence. That's what you can do once you build systems. That's the difference between working in something and building something that works for you. Mindset shifts, people. This is not about, understand just very clearly, this is not, when I say systems and things like that, this is not about being perfect, because perfection is not a business strategy. It's about being intentional. Small steps, as I mentioned, baby steps matter. Small steps, clear vision, consistent action. This is going to bring about the results you're looking for. Now we get to a point where we're facing the fear, the risk, and self-trust. Let's address fear, because fear is real, whether we want to admit it or not. What do we fear? We fear failing. We fear not being good enough and not living up to a certain level of expectation. We fear losing our sense of security. But here's the reframe in mind. Security is not found in a paycheck. Security is found in adaptability, in your ability to learn, in your ability to pivot, in your ability to trust yourself. Without doubt, every employer you admire once stood where you stand now. They stood there and they had many questions. They were standing in your position with questions, with doubt, with uncertainty, without a foolproof plan. What separated them from you was not deeper understanding, because they did not have that, was not confidence. It was an extreme commitment to their own vision. Because no matter what you do and where you are in your journey, you're going to have doubts. You're going to have that moment that you're just uncertain. I'm not sure if this is going to pan out. I'm not sure if this is going to work. But prevail anyway. Move forward anyway. Forge forward anyway. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be faithful to your vision. Now, becoming the employer of your own life. Here is a deeper truth. Becoming an employer is not about business. It becomes a business, but it starts with mindset before we even get there. It's actually about leadership. Leadership of time, leadership of energy, leadership of choices. You become the employer of your own life when you stop outsourcing your worth, when you stop shrinking yourself and stop shrinking your dreams, when you stop waiting for approval. You give yourself permission to grow out loud, to grow on purpose, to grow with intention, and to grow without apologies. Let's just take that in. Let's just pause for a second. I hope that message, because I feel when I give my messages, I feel those messages. When I'm talking this out into the ethos, I'm talking to myself. I mean, it's going out into the universe and it's bouncing off the moon and it's coming back to me. I feel it. So I hope somebody else is feeling it, because I truly believe every word I said. And I believe that anything is possible. You got hopes, you got dreams. It's possible. You can do it. Be committed, be focused, execute. It can be done. So your future is not a gamble. In fact, it's a wonderful design project. And you are the artist. So we're going into part 2 of this message tonight. The message tonight is from employed to employer. In part 2, we'll focus on building the employer mindset and creating sustainable growth. Our focus in this session is moving from vision to execution to sustainability. So welcome. If you're just catching it, welcome, Fraternal Souls. If you missed it, then let me just explain. And part 1 was the awakening of a vision. And part 2 is about strengthening the foundation, because ideas are powerful, but ideas without structure just simply remain dreams. Today, we move beyond inspiration directly into implementation. This session is about building the employer mindset, not just for business, but for life. I love that. For life sounds so purposeful. Because here's the truth. Most people don't talk about this. Becoming an employer is not just about freedom. It's about responsibilities, and the responsibilities really requires clarity. So you have to build systems, as I mentioned before. Thinking in systems, not in systematic struggles. The employee mindset survives on effort. The employer mindset survives on systems. That's just a fact. Employees ask, what do I need to do today? Employers ask, what systems will make this process repeatable? This is where many people get stuck. Then they try to work harder instead of working smarter. But employers understand something very critical. Time is limited. Energy is valuable. And systems create sustainability. So once again, let's ask ourselves, where am I doing something manually that can become an automated process? Where am I repeating tasks that can be simplified in some way, shape, or form? Where am I bottlenecking? And I am the bottleneck that is somehow preventing progress. Self-reflection, people, and we got to be honest with ourselves. Employers thinking doesn't say, I have to do it all. It say, how do I design a process that works? A process that works even without me. That's system. Going from skills to service. You already have what you need to begin. You have your skills, your experience, your perspective. But the question is, how do you package it? Employees trades hours. Employers trades solution. That means shifting mindset, shifting from this is what I do to this is the outcome I provide. We're looking for the same solution. That's to get a job done, but you got to change your perspective, your mindset. People don't buy effort, they buy results. And that's just a simple fact. When you clearly define the value you bring, you move from being a worker to a problem solver. A problem solver do not chase opportunities. In fact, opportunity finds them. Shift the mindset, people. Building confidence through competence. Confidence do not. Well, let's put it this way. Confidence is not something that you wait for. It's something that you build in time, over time, repeatedly. For most people, they'll say something like, I'll act and I'll do something. And I'll try it when I feel ready. That is not how execution works. That is not how owning your own vision works. Because employer mindset will say, I'll act and become ready. Confidence grows through action. It grows through learning. It grows through testing. It grows through adjusting, adapting, executing. That's how you get the confidence. That's how you get ready. You don't need to be the master. So you don't need mastery. Simply put, you need momentum. You need to act. You need movement. Every action clarifies the next step. Every step builds belief. Every belief strengthens identity. You don't wake up as an employer in one day or overnight. It doesn't work that way. You become one decision at a time, one step at a time, one effort at a time. Just moving on. Money, value, and self-worth. Let's talk about money and let's be honest about it. Money is not just currency. It's communication. It reflects how you see your value. Many people undercharge their worth, not because they lack skills, but because they lack self-trust. Employers understand pricing is positioning. Value is perspective. Confidence is set. Confidence that you have set the tone for how your business will be ran. Just think about that. Think about that. Pricing is positioning. Value is perception. Confidence sets the tone. You are not asking for permission to be paid. You are offering an exchange of value. And when you believe in what you're offering, others will believe as well. Now we're going into long-term thinking and legacy. Employers think beyond today. We're not thinking just about today. We're thinking about the future. Employers think, how will this scale? How will this grow? How will this serve my long-term purpose? This is where legacy begins. Not legacy in fame and popularity, but in impact. What you build today becomes the platform for tomorrow. Your choices right now, today, will determine your freedom later, your peace later, your ability to give and to be fruitful later. Employers' mindset thinking is future focus. Very simple. Part 3. We're talking about going from employed to employer. And this is part 3 of tonight's session. This is about from vision to execution, scaling with purpose and sustainability. Our focus is action, discipline, leadership, skills and scaling, and ultimately sustainability, because sustainability is going to be the thing that's going to help you stand the test of time. That's exactly what we want to do. Crossing those thresholds. Let's get to work and continue. So in part one, we were talking about awakening the vision. In part two, we talked about strengthening the foundation. Here in part three, now we're talking about action. We're talking about movement. Because vision without execution is just simply imagination. Okay? And execution without purpose becomes exhaustion. Today, we talk about scaling with intention, not rushing, not forcing, but building something, as I mentioned, that lasts, that can stand the test of time. This is the session where you stop simply preparing and start positioning yourself as a leader of the very things that you are building, the very things that you have a vision or a dream of. We're going to execute, because execution is what's going to be needed to forge forward and to push your dreams, your hopes, your ideas forward. So, execution is not motivation. Execution is discipline. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Employees wait to feel inspired. Employers act because it's time to act. This is where most dreams stall and people get stuck, not because of lack of abilities, but because of inconsistencies. Execution means doing the work even when it feels repetitive, showing up even when no one is watching or no one's there. Build the momentum before you even see results or you know it's going to work. This is where identity matters most. You don't execute because you feel like an employer. You execute until you become one. Simple as that. From doing everything to leading everything. That's where we're going. Mindset shift, people. At the beginning, you have to do it all. If you are an entrepreneur, if you have hobbies, if you started something, you know you're gonna have to do it all. You're gonna have to be, the mini trick ponies, the jack of all trades. That's normal in the beginning, but growth requires transition. Okay, so there comes a moment when success demands a shift from hands-on to hands guiding. Employees manage tasks while employers manage direction. So once again, self-reflection. Ask yourself, what requires my direct involvement? What requires my leadership? What can be delegated, automated, and regulated? Excuse me, not regulated, relegated. Let's do that again. What can be delegated, automated, and or relegated? Think about that. That's part of thinking, mindset shift, and thinking on the next level. Why? Because scaling is not about doing more. It's about making better decisions. Leadership begins when you stop proving yourself and start protecting your vision. We create a structure because structures create freedom. And here's the paradox most people miss. Freedom comes from structure. Without structure, everything feels urgent. Boundaries disappear. Burnouts become inevitable. Employers build containers. Clear schedule, define priorities, and non-negotiable standards. I don't know how important that is. Oh my God, that is so important. My background is in finance, financial analyst, and accountant. And I remember so clearly that you get challenged by people whether you work for them or a client or whatever, and they want something fast, and they want you to skip over steps, and they want you to maybe not stick to the regulation. Can we do this quickly? And if you're worth your salt in anything you do, the answer to that question is no, we cannot. We're going to go step by step, and we're going to follow the structure, and we're going to do this the correct way. Create a standard that is non-negotiable, that you will not deviate from. And that is going to lead to long-term sustainability that you want to build in anything that you're creating. Structure, as we're talking about, protects your energy. Structure protects your focus. Structure protects your purpose. You don't rise to your goal. Let's put it this way. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Think about that, because that's a paradox. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And for those who don't have a system, you'll see soon enough that things will start to fall apart. So build systems that support the life and the business that you want. Not just the income you want, but the type of structure and type of business with integrity that you want to build. Scaling without losing your soul. I didn't really want to go there. But we're going to go there for a second. Because it's easy to be someone who starts chasing the money. And as I just mentioned, in the business that I've had and the standard that I set and the uncompromising, unwavering standard that I set, it's easy to just say, let me take the quick money, and let me just do things quickly, and let me just overstep some things and push some things aside. It's easy to do that. I would encourage everyone, as I just mentioned, not to do that. Scale and grow, and don't lose anything. Certainly don't lose your soul. Let's talk about alignment and being aligned with your dreams and your goals and your aspirations. Not all growth is healthy. Not all opportunities are aligned. Just because something is profitable doesn't mean it's purposeful. Employers with longevity knows that when you say no, and I become fond of saying no, not saying no to be mean, to vindictive, or vicious, but no because sometimes you have to say no. Set that standard. We're not wavering. And the answer has to be no. Once again, ask yourself, does this align with my value? Now we're talking about soul searching. Does this move me closer to the life that I want? Does this honor me and my energy? Scaling with purpose means choosing sustainability over speed, depth over noise, impact over ego. You don't need everything. You just need what is aligned with your purpose and your goals. Because once you can get that mindset shift, now you can start to think about your impact long term and think about your legacy. Now we're getting into legacy thinking, which is beyond you, beyond me, beyond now, beyond this time. At this level, the questions now shift and they changes. The questions are not, what can I get? But in fact, what can this become? Legacy thinking is about building something that outlives us and outlives our effort, reflects our values, and create opportunity that's bigger than us, opportunity for others. Legacy isn't about size. It's largely about significance. You are not just building income. You are building confidence, capacity, and continuity for the next generation. What you design today shape what others will experience tomorrow. That is the very underpinning and the basis of legacy and legacy building. So, as we close, I want this to sit with you. You, me, we are not created only just to maintain. You were created to build. You were not designed just to survive a system. You were designed to create them. From employed to employer, from task taker to vision maker, from surviving to designing, your future is calling. And the very moment that you answer that call, everything starts to shift, everything starts to change, without a doubt, because you are no longer just preparing, you are positioning, you are no longer just waiting, you are becoming. From employed to employer, from ideas to infrastructure, from intention to impact. This is not about rushing the process. This is about respecting the process. So stand in your value, build with patience, and lead with vision. Because when you decide to design your life, life responds and starts a conversation. You are no longer an employee waiting for direction. You are an employer creating direction. You are no longer hoping for opportunities. You are becoming the opportunity. From employee to employer, the vision, from vision to execution, from effort to impact. This is not about perfection. There is no such thing. This is about ownership. Ownership. Own your time. Own your growth. Own your future. Because when you stop asking for permission and start leading with purpose, everything changes. You'll see everything changes. So, until next time, build wisely, lead intentionally, and remember, you were meant to be big, and you were not meant to stay small. I hope this message has resonated with somebody and made a difference. And if it has, please share it with someone who you feel needs to hear it. Because in parting, I bid you and wish for you, stay rooted, stay blessed, keep living life with kindness and clarity and purpose. I am D. Wilder, and this is the Financial Fitness Friday, focusing on financial fitness for the future. I bid you peace and blessings. Thank you all for sharing that moment with me. I hope that message has resonated with someone. That was a message from the heart. And I believe anything is possible, and I hope that you do too. Have a good weekend.